You are watching a brand new Sports Fusion episode. Thank you for tuning in. We got a big show for you tonight. We have a Sports Center anchor, Jay Harris, on tonight's show. What does he have to say about the Super Bowl coming up in the next 10 days? What's his prediction? Does he have a prediction? And does he ever think about writing a book? We'll find out next on Sports Fusion. The next guest on tonight's show, he is a Sports Center anchor, Jay Harris. So, Jay, how are you doing tonight?
Good, Alex. How are you?
Good. So, Jay, let me ask you, would you ever consider writing a book?
That's an odd first question. Yes, yes, I've considered writing a book.
Because I see you post on Facebook of quotes and inspirational quotes, and you give a lot of advice about your career, so I was just wondering if you would ever consider writing a book about this career.
Would you buy it if I wrote it?
I would definitely buy it.
All right, I'm going to get on it.
Okay. So what made you want to get into this career of sports broadcasting?
What made me want to?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, I decided in the 11th grade that journalist was what I wanted to be. I took a career test and scored well in the area of interpersonal skills, and I looked at the jobs listed, and I think journalist was like number 3. And I always liked to write, like to talk. And I decided that right then and there that this is what I wanted to do. And in that moment, I wanted Brent Musburger's job at CBS Sports back in the day. News opened up first once I got out of school and started looking for something to do with my life. So I spent many years in radio and then television news before, I guess you could say, coming full circle and getting into sports.
So you've been with Sports Center since 2003, so tell me, how did you get this job?
One day, I was in Pittsburgh, I decided to send a tape to a buddy of mine who happened to work here, who I used to work with in Pittsburgh, just to critique it. I wanted his opinion. And he showed it to some folks around here, and I guess someone liked it, and he called me back and said, hey, they want to bring you up for an audition. And he kind of threw me at first because I was doing local news in Pittsburgh, and this was, ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, and came up, did the audition, wrote my own little segment, my little sportscast, had fun with it, and did something they liked, and to make a very long story short, 13 years later, I'm still here.
Wow. So, since you just said 13 years, how has the industry changed since then?
I think the biggest change in the industry is all the social media. I mean, technology is technology. There are easier ways to do live shots. There are quicker ways to do things on television. Graphics packages look a whole lot better. So I guess that flows into it also. But I think the social aspect and the true immediacy and the 24-hour news cycle. And I mean, when I grew up, television stations went off at night. Nothing goes off anymore. Everything is on all the time. And if it's not on television, it's on your phone or your computer.
So like you just said, the all-night aspect. So what is the hardest part of doing that 24-hour newscast there?
Well, I really don't have to do a 24-hour newscast. I have to do my 1 or 2 or 3 hours and then go home and someone else takes over. I guess it's maybe keeping up with everything. You're married to your smartphone or whatever. We get emails here, research emails, show emails, you name it. So there's always something to keep up with. And if you're not careful, and I don't think it's any different any other place. If you're not careful, it can overwhelm you a bit. It can burn you out. So I turn my phones off.
So what
When I
kind
go
of
home-
sports? Oh,
when I
I'm
go
sorry.
home, it's home. When I go home, it's home,
hmm
and I try my best to turn it off.
hmm So what kind of sports do you enjoy watching when you're not at work?
Oh, that's a great question. With a 17-year-old boy and a 10-year-old girl, if the boy wants to watch something, we'll watch it.
hmm
I don't watch a lot at home because there's always something to do.
Right.
You're not old enough to be familiar with the honey-do list. When you get married, you'll know all about the honey-do list. So I don't get to sit down and watch as much as I might like. When everyone's asleep, if I'm still awake, yeah, I'll pop on a game. Or if it's a big game or the playoffs or a big matchup that I want to see, yeah, I'll make it a point. But I do most of my watching here at work.
So growing up, did you have any favorite sports or favorite sports teams?
Growing up in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, I was a Boston Celtics fan. I don't really know why. Well, probably because I like John Havlicek.
Right.
That was my guy growing up. I just liked his game. He seemed to be able to do whatever he wanted to. He was just very skilled at it, and by all accounts, a real nice guy. I got to meet him a couple of years ago at the Hall of Fame induction, and he was really cool. Took the picture. It was great. It was just great. So, but over the years, your teams evolve. We spent 12 years in Pittsburgh, so I kind of adopted all the Pittsburgh teams, so the Steelers and the Penguins and the Pirates. So that's where I guess you could say my sports allegiances lie. Now, coming from news,
right.
I try to be, well, you're supposed to be as neutral as possible.
Right.
So I try not to have any allegiance to anyone or anything when I'm on television. Although I'll give an Old Dominion shout out because that's where I went to college. But you couldn't tell which team I root for.
Right.
I hope you can't tell which team I root for because it's not about me. It's about the story that I'm covering.
So is that hard to not be biased when you're reporting?
Not for me. No, I don't think, because again, it's not about me or what I like or who I like.
Right.
It's about the story in front of me. So my job is to, as a journalist, because whether it's sports or news or whatever, your job is to tell the story. Your job is to, if you get a chance to write something good or off the top of your head or research something, your job is to tell the story. So allegiances they shouldn't be part of that. And I know people cover specific teams, they have a specific beat, and that's their thing.
Right.
But I think that's a totally different subject. You're covering a team.
Yeah.
That's your gig.
Right. So what kind of favorite stories do you love to cover on SportsCenter?
I don't know. I don't think I have a favorite.
Like the injuries or the game-winning home run in the bottom of the ninth?
I hate injuries. I hate to see people hurt. I mean, because this is their livelihood. I don't want anyone hurt. I want every team to be full of strength all the time. No, every day is different. And you can ask anyone whether they do local news, national news, local sports, national sports, whatever. This profession, you walk in and you really don't know what's going to happen. I come in at 5 o'clock, our 5 o'clock meeting for the 11 o'clock Sports Center, and we have an idea of what we want to do, what we want to cover, and the producer will put a rundown in, and we'll work off of that rundown. But as games end, as things happen through the night, it all changes because of a particular play or player or just a game, a good game, a last-second shot, whatever. It changes. So that makes it fun every day.
So the big Super Bowl is coming up with 2 weeks. So what is your prediction? My prediction are the Panthers are going to win. So what's yours?
I don't have one yet.
Oh, you don't?
No, not yet. I mean, I got time. The
right.
to go through the numbers and do some research. I think there are so many different storylines. My focus right now is just exploring all the different storylines. I mean, could it be Peyton Manning's last ride? I mean, the whole Cam Newton thing, the Broncos defense, the Panthers defense. I mean, there's so many different things that will be talked about over the next 10 days or 9 days. Our predictions are later.
Okay, last question here before we wrap up this interview. What is your favorite part about anchoring SportsCenter?
My favorite part,
Yep.
and I'll compare this to when I used to do news, my favorite part is just being able to laugh and smile and joke and have fun, because we're talking about sports.
Right.
And it should be fun. I mean, every show, every moment, it should be fun. Now, there are horrible stories in the sports world also. But my favorite part is having fun. And when I was a little younger, and when the boy was younger, my favorite part was, being on TV and he could see me.
Yeah.
Or when my mom or dad say, "Hey, watch your show," that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
But I enjoy being able to enjoy myself. And I'll close with this. My dad will tell me sometimes, he's like, "Son, it's almost like you don't even have a job, because you go to where you go and you have fun." And there's so many people who go to work every day and do not enjoy themselves, and you truly enjoy yourself, and it shows. So that's a blessing, and he's absolutely right. So the most favorite thing I like is being able to enjoy myself doing what I do.
Okay, Jay, thank you for coming on this show, and thanks again. Thank you, Fuse Nation, for tuning in for this huge show tonight. Thanks for Jay Harris for coming on, and once again, follow me on Twitter at sports_fusion, and you can find us on sportsfusion.com, and stick with us next week. We have a huge week of shows next week. 2 other SportsCenter anchors are on, and we got some great interviews coming your way. Thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe button and the like button, and I will see you on Monday.